No, I don't miss it because it didn't serve me. These little changes are not really standing out because it didn't serve me. It's not affecting me because it did not serve me. I don't miss it because it did not serve me and who I want to be. Sadly, not really even sadly. It's not even sadly. It's just not who I want to be. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Soul and Grace podcast. I'm your host Danielle, and before wait, hey, please, I know I was not here last week, okay? I was not here last week, so please, let me live. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Soul and Grace podcast, or welcome in if you are new here. Hi, I'm your host Danielle, and last week there was no episode, so we're back this week, and I thought it would be so fun to kind of go off script this week, just because we've been on our wellness tip and that's been real fun, all of the things. But before I went ahead and uploaded last week's episode for this week, I was like, let me talk to them a little bit, because the last 2 weeks have been a little insane. I'm very much insane in the real world. So how y'all doing? Hopefully y'all okay, finding your peace. I've been finding myself saying that and posting that so much, and people probably be like, this girl, like, does anything ever go wrong in her world? I am so serious when I say I hope that we are all finding our peace in this current state of life, especially for the Americans. I'm not even trying to get all, just, I hope you finding your peace. I'll be spending a lot of time doing what you want to do, what you like, and while thinking it's still damn free and being, and moving, being able to move around, I hope you're doing that. We were not here last week, but that is because I was hosting, and honestly, I needed the time to catch up on some online work, books and things and all of that jazz. My sister was in town, so that was fun. We really had a good time. She might say otherwise, but little sisters, they never change, baby. They never change. My sister's amazing, but there's always the like, oh, you don't go out that much anymore. And I don't know how else to get her to understand that I've been outside, baby. I've been outside. And right now, you just can't pay me to be in certain places with certain people. I'm not saying that to be bougie or big-headed or anything like that, but I want to go for a good time. If I don't have no proof that it would be, I don't know, because you never know if things going to be a good time, but I know how Denver is, and like, I encourage other people to do it. And like, when you got friends in other cities too, it's like, go do that. But I'm sure she had a great time with all other things we did. Stay focused, camera. But how are you? How's your day? How's your night? How's your morning? How's your week been? Good, I hope. Good. Fingers crossed. Like, literally, I just hope everyone is finding some type of... Maybe we should take a deep inhale and a deep ass exhale. That is why, if I get the courage to make a freaking meditation series or something, we will be meditating realistically, okay? I've told you guys my stories about or just my journey of learning how to meditate more, and sometimes you do got Lil Wayne playing in your head while you're meditating, but as long as that river is flowing, You're doing fine, sweetie. You're doing fine. Let's go ahead and get into today's show. You guys know, for the Gotta Have It, we kind of been doing our self-love, because that's what we all about over here on Self and Grace. This week, we are on deck number two. For my newbies, For my newbies, this card game comes with a past, present, and future. We are in our present, level 2. Let's see what the universe wants to ask us this week. What keeps coming up? Yikes. Have a sip and a cheers to a great show. Honestly, this episode will be like a wind down. It's after dinner for me. I really was not in the space to talk about wellness. We're gonna talk about my wellness right now. Where is Danny's wellness right damn now? Okay, but before we get into that, cheers to you. Cheers to you. What keeps coming up? What keeps coming up? It's funny you asked, universe. It's funny you asked, because that's what this episode we're gonna talk about in the soul search. But honestly, this is crazy. I don't shuffle these cards or anything. Okay, this top been sitting on here. It's been sitting on here waiting for me. So, what keeps coming up? And right now, what keeps coming up for me right now is simply I'm in a state of I honestly don't know what to call it. What keeps coming up for me is simply it's such a complex answer, and we want to keep this under an hour. What keeps coming up for me right now has a lot to do with removing myself from people, places, and things that do not reflect where I want to be. Every day I find myself being is not challenged, right? Because I am aware that, or for some things, like I'm gaining the awareness that it doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve me. Or, I simply don't need it. And because I don't want to spoil too much of the episode and just jump into it right off the back with that, I would say the biggest thing for me right now that is something I'm letting go of is actually I've decided that I would like to wean myself off of cannabis. And there's actually so much power in saying that shit out loud, really, because I'm not sure if it has something to do with where it's coming from, who it's coming from, how hybrid it is, because everything is so hybridized now. Even your flower, if you garden, if you partake in any cannabis activities, where it comes from is very important. There's a lot of science and information that you can go read about, and the science of like cannabinoids and all of those things, but I just feel like what we're getting right now is not that. So it comes down to the point of like, okay, well, are you going to grow it? What are you going to? And then it got me thinking, do I actually even have the patience to grow it? Do I actually really even need it? Because quite honestly, it just has been seeming like it does not work anymore for me. When, our bodies do grow and change and evolve over time. And I just think that maybe it's not for me anymore. Or I just don't, I personally, I think they're messing with it. I think they're messing with it. And it's just not it anymore. The whole process, to roll up is a ceremony, quite honestly, but I just don't need that ceremony anymore. I'm ready to move past it, quite honestly. When I think about when I started smoking, because I did not start smoking until maybe 2015, 2016. And I think about that, it's like, oh, it was a good 10-year run. And if I ever want to go do it, or I could change that, my mind can change about that any other time. But right now, I feel that my mind and body is like, hey, you're all right without it. Let's see how good you will be. So I've been taking breaks from that. Now I've been drinking my wine and doing those things, but I have never been a heavy drinker. I am a social drinker. And then now that there's nothing wrong with being at home and having you a bottle of wine. The problem when it comes to drinking is like if you're choosing to do that over everything or you need it, you it's a crutch to me. That's my view on it. But having getting a thing, y'all know I love my VRA, all of those things. Having a stocked bar cabinet because I'm not using it, I'm not abusing it, is amazing. I would say what keeps coming up for me right now, just to sum it all up, because we're gonna get into some other things, would simply just be like, and that probably ties into boundaries too, but the more recent example is definitely me deciding to part ways with my um cannabis journey. Because yeah, it'll always be there. It'll always be there. Literally, it's gonna always be there. I live in Colorado. It's gonna be there. It's always around if I want it, hey, it's there. But right now I'm really gonna take a break because I had they say that it can make you kind of have like psychosis or something. I didn't necessarily have that, but I did experience a like and nobody wants to feel like Smokey in a pigeon coop. You know what I mean? That's not how I felt then, but then I just thought like, ooh, what happens when I actually do have a moment and I green out behind whatever 3 to 4 strains they decided to put together and call Bubba Kush. I don't have time for that. Let's go ahead and talk about some more clarity and life changes that are happening for me right now. So let's go ahead and get into Soul Search. So, welcome to Soul Search. Welcome to Soul Search. The title of this segment of my show has never felt so right until now. For today's topic, because the girl is going through changes, okay? Changes. Y'all, why is everything changing? God, if you are 29, there's a possible chance that your frontal lobe and shit is barely just now, like this year's deciding to show up and show out. Because I feel like that is exactly what I'm going through. And change is gonna happen, right? It's that is something that you can predict. The only thing constant in life is change, okay? Things are going to change. And I know I talked about this before. I have an episode on transformation and kind of honoring the transformation and things that come about. But it's not that I've been unprepared, but it's more so I am shocked by how okay with the change that I am. Even hearing that is like, what you mean? Like, what do you mean by that? I feel so confident in so many of these changes that are happening in within myself that I'm not even questioning it. A lot of it probably has to do with self-love. A lot of it probably has to do with growing up. Really? Maybe? I'm not sure. But it's not always easy, and I think sometimes we expect the changes to be big changes, but all the changes that have been happening to me, and it's not like it's been like boom, boom, change, 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 but they've been like these little subtle changes or movements or just different actions in the way that my body is actually acting and walking in this new, I don't know, this new energy or what. It feels amazing, but it's also like I had to have a few moments of self-reflection, of just thinking like, hey, okay, this is what we're doing. So where do I want to start? Because I listed out I listed out my changes that I've noticed so far. Okay, I have, and I'm so serious when I say I'm just shocked. I don't even know. I'm honestly just feeling the shift, quite honestly. Maybe, of course, it has a lot to do with just honoring more of myself, but also I think it has a lot to do with a lot of the things I've been releasing, or a few of the things I've been releasing, because it's not like I have so many things, but it is like a few of those things I really didn't need. One of the first things I wanted to mention was simply removing myself from everything that does not reflect who, what, when, where, and how I want to be, or how I see my life. And of course, while we cannot predict the future and we cannot predict any of the outcomes for what we want, I do have a lot of self-control on how I react, right, to those things. But I've just been distancing myself from a lot of things and doing more of what I want to do. Upon a lot of reflection, I realized that and it all started because I was just trying to, stand on business when it comes, like when I say that you need to remove yourself from people, places, and things that do not freaking serve you. Once you remove yourself from everything that does not reflect what you imagine, at least for me, the first couple of things that started happening is like, oh, the realization of, well, what do I have around me, right? And I would say first that, of course, I would think of people. And for me, I've mentioned it before, I tend to pick up associates because I can't really say friends. And we'll get into that revelation in just a few minutes. I've picked up a lot of associates on this journey called life. And while I love that and I love being a good person, I have recognized that I don't benefit from associates, and I also don't really benefit from temporary people, which brings me to the point of, I had the question like, what are real friends, and what are the real friends that I have around me currently? And I probably can count on my hand for Colorado, my people in Colorado, who actually are my friends. And it's like, well, what do you see as a friend? What would be your ideal friend? And the first thing that comes to mind would be people that have interest in me outside of when things when events and stuff are going on. And there's probably I feel like the people, I don't have to worry about my friends that hear this podcast. I'm not nervous about that. I don't give a fuck who, excuse my language. I don't really care who hears it, because if the shoe fits, baby, it fits. I only want quality people. Quality people. And I recognize that it works both ways. So while I could be better at it, some other people could be better at it. But then when I started thinking about that, I came to the conclusion that when I look at who my good friends are, it doesn't matter if it was received or not. They just naturally, genuinely are there, and they show up and they have an interest in me outside of what I can offer or be a part of to go with them too. And no, I'm not saying, oh, I don't want people to hit me up just for things. I'm actually saying, if we have never made any connections outside of doing things together, in a more formal, personal space, you are not my friend. You're not my friend, actually. If you don't have interest in the things that I want to do, I'm not saying that in a surface level way. So please, before somebody say, oh, what? I'm saying that if people don't have interest in who you are outside of a good night out on the town, if you do have a family or whatever, that's not your friend. They're just somebody to go have fun with. And those type of people come a dime a dozen. And you can find anyone like that. And I'm recognizing as I get older and as this transplant in, a different city and state, those things are very important to me. So I've been cutting off things that don't serve me in that way, and also trying to reach out to the people that do kind of matter. But I need them to understand, if they don't reach out, it's like I'm very easy to forget you. And there's no beef, there's no hard feelings, there's no nothing there. We both know we can have a good time with each other when the time comes. But I'm just not interested in anyone that is not interested in me outside of things to do. Then I just was having the reflection again. I think I mentioned it in one of my past episodes, just like start thinking, like, how many times do people come to your house or come hang out for dinner, whatever. Like, it don't always have to be us going out. It doesn't have to always be us doing that. It's like, come over, let me host you, let me show, at least for me, that's as a cancer for sure. And just overall, I don't want to say overall good person, but I am an overall people lover. I always tell everyone, I know that God put me here to spread a light, to love other people. I've always felt like that since a little girl. So that's my way on loving on people. Most of the people that are associated with me right now, they know that in a different way too, because you might see it through my social media, you might see it through our own interactions or whatever. People, I know that it's a genuine, like, I feel that in my heart, people know that's genuinely how I am. Now, whether they've taken me up on those offers or things, that's not my problem. I can only ask you so many times. Are we friends? Are we just people that just do stuff when we go out? And the thing about me is, hey, we could be like that. I'm cool with that. Quite honestly, I'm cool, because I really what is it, I can't get the word out, but everybody is in their own compartmentalize. The lisp is whipping my ass, but yeah, it's like everyone's in their own boxes already. So I don't have to merge you over here if you don't even want to be over here. I'll leave you over here. I'm fine with that. It works best for my brain anyways. I do recognize I have the desire to build those connections, so I'm trying to keep the ones that I do have in range that could grow to excuse me, that could grow into things or relationships that reflect that. And I'm well aware I could just hit you up when the next vibes in the park is going on, quite honestly. Now, when we talk about removing ourselves from Lord Jesus, places and things, when I say that, I recognize that not only do I only want quality people in my life, I only want to be attached to places and things, or be in places that are of quality. Nothing is wrong with that. It does not mean you're bougie. It does not mean you're nothing. It does not mean it's going to be extravagant. It does not mean it has to be luxury. I want to be in quality places, spending quality time with quality people. I want to be in quality spaces, spending quality time with quality people. I don't need any other fillers. Time is of the essence. Life is to be lived and experienced as well. So sometimes that means not just being everywhere that sounds like a vibe, looks like a vibe. You heard it was a vibe. You got invited to it. It's okay to say no and that you can't go. It's 100% okay. Now, it's not that anyone has, invited me to something or whatever, but there has been instances where I've shared that. Because I was out from 16 to damn 26, I have gotten to experience a lot of things and a lot of fun, a lot of chaos, a lot of bars, a lot of clubbing. Had fun doing that. Yes, I did. I very much did. But now I don't just want to, it's not about being in the places that I just saw on TikTok or whatever trending. I'm really looking for quality experiences, whether money is attached or not. I'm looking for quality experiences because how else do you find or figure out what more do you like, or how else do you get introduced to more people in the realm of where you want to be? By doing things that you want to do. And sometimes I'm getting invited to stuff I don't want to do. And while it's not the invitation that's irritating, sometimes it's just like a little irritating having to, and this is not a regular thing, but having to even acknowledge or explain like why I'm saying no. I just don't want to go. And it should be that simple, but sometimes we over explain, we do the things, but I don't want to go and I don't have to go. And majority of the time it's because it just doesn't serve me. I don't want to be there. I don't know how else to put that. And I think I even said that to my therapist, like, I don't know how else to put that. And she's like, well, you don't, why else do you need to explain that? You shouldn't have to. And that's exactly why I tell people, you do not do things on your own. Get comfortable doing things on your own. So when you invite someone out and they don't want to do it with you, it's not the end of the world. You're not begging someone to go with you or just trying to convince them that that's the move for them. If they say no, let them. Go on about your business. Go meet some other people that'll be at that event, whatever it is. Go on about your business. Because you don't have to, and it's, you don't need no further explanation than that. You really do not. And it's crazy that sometimes some of it be the people that have known you or whatever. Because one of my favorites is like inviting me to something that you know is not aligned with me. You know it's not aligned with me, because that just shows you put no thought into if it suits everybody. You only put thought into if it suits you. And I do not care how genuine you thought that was going to be, but if you did not consider all your friends and what their lifestyles and shit is like, or more so, you're aware of it, but you're still going to invite them to some stuff you already know doesn't align with them. Yikes, you're a terrible person. Actually, that might have been a little harsh, but to me you are, especially if you've been knowing me for a minute and you ask me to do something I don't even think about. I wouldn't think about it. I wouldn't stick my big toe in it. I wouldn't dream about it. I don't dream about it. It doesn't reflect nothing that has anything to do with me. Nasty. Nasty. Again, it's just been a lot of like, is this maturing? I don't know. It's always been presented that maturing is like, oh, I'm gonna change how I'm gonna dress. I might change my hairstyle. I might change something. But is this like growing or maturing spiritually? I don't know. But I know my body's going through it right now, and she's not having it. And I can respect that. When it starts feeling supernatural and you don't second guess it, your body wants that. You need to just listen. You need to honor it. You need to keep it pushing. You're not doing anything wrong. When you decide that you want to go against what your body is feeling, that's when the regret and stuff come in. And I know that I know from personal experience that's when it come in, because every time I've agreed to do something that I do not want to do, be somewhere I don't want to be, again, do anything that I don't want to do. The entire time my body is telling me, Joe, you didn't want to do this anyways. Why are we here? Why are you doing this? Or there is something that happens that reminds you that absolutely the hell not, absolutely not. And I do want to touch back on being in the right spaces. Again, if you are someone that is having these exact same thoughts and you're trying to figure out, how do I change up my life? How do I change up what I get to experience? When I get to really just, how do I change up my life's experience? That's going to mostly and probably always start off with changing if you are someone who is struggling with figuring out how to change your life's experiences and expectations, a lot of that begins with changing your surroundings. And changing your surroundings is going to be the people and the things that you allow to be a part of your life. Again, and the only reason I'm mentioning this is because I've heard people psych themselves out with this. I've psyched myself out with this and all of those things. A lot of times our brains make shit way more complicated than it actually really is. To change your surroundings when we're talking about places does not mean that it has to be super luxurious, super perfect, or at least it's just providing yourself with different things, different places and experiences, not necessarily changing or trying to become something you really are not. Don't immediately think like I'm saying you need to be in a damn dress in a tea room or something, drinking tea, just changing it up like that. No, but just be more mindful about what places, people and things get your energy, and the places that you spread your light in. Please consider these things. And honestly, that walks me into the next thing that I put on the list of I always have a little hesitation when talking about life, right? And how I reference it, because and a lot of it has to do with how I've been perceived. But the craziest thing about me getting over how I'm perceived is I cannot control that. I cannot control it. I can never control it. Honestly, do I really care? No, until someone brings it to my attention that they have an issue with how they perceive me. But mastering leaving the scarcity mindset alone. Now, for me, because I can look back and I can almost track what I worked for, what I did to get to when I wanted it, how I wanted it, is documented up here, right? But a lot of times people don't see that. They see the outside thing, and I've had a few life interactions where, again, I've been perceived something that I'm not, and I can't control that. But I want to leave anyone that is still struggling with a scarcity mindset. Beep, beep, beep. Dump truck your ass out, actually. I understand that with today's climate and things that, no, everybody cannot afford to do things or whatever, and that's okay, because a lot of times you don't really need to be doing anything. But when I speak of scarcity mindset, or you think of inflation, you think of all of these things, yes, we should be budgeting. Everybody should be budgeting, but it's not my place to have that conversation with you, and I'm just hoping that you're doing that for yourself. So you'll never hear me talk about money. I'm never going to talk about money. I'm not flashy. I might be flat. I'm home taker flashy, and or is it home taker? Not home taker. Um, I'm not flashy. I am not materialistic. I did not grow up materialistic. My dad is super materialistic, but my mom was not like that. My dad is super, have everything branded. My mom, you need to know how to put a good outfit together. My maternal side, honestly, I would say is, oh, that's my thing. My maternal side, I would say, is probably more like that than anything. Not that my dad's side is just super flashy, but my dad himself, every Nike, Jordan, everything, head to toe. My mom is not like that. So I was not raised like that. So I'm not materialistic. I didn't eat out that much as a kid. I don't want to say I didn't eat out as much, but it was like a thing. If we're going out to eat, we're celebrating, it's a birthday, it's just something. Honestly, I didn't start eating out a bunch really until I was working myself, because it was the treat of making my own money and being able to go out with your friends, all the stuff we used to do. Go to the movies, go to damn Cheddar's, Applebee's, whatever, back in those days. But I'm just here for a good time and not a long time, right? That's what everybody should live by. But besides that, I want to leave any and everybody that is struggling with the scarcity mindset alone. I really do. I really, really do, because I don't think that people recognize the power of the tongue. But not only the power of the tongue, once money becomes the topic of discussion in anything, it's a turnoff. Even business, quite honestly. It's a turnoff. If it's not about making money, it definitely is a turnoff if you are in the business world. But there's so much power in the tongue. So people been like, oh, I'm broke, or this, or when it's time to do things, I can't. And the reason that I cannot is because I work so damn hard. I've worked so damn hard to get here. Yes, I would love to have a little bit more money, a lot bit more money, but I'm not going to let that hinder me from life and the experiences that exist. People will do and I don't even be wanting to pocket watch, because that's the thing, and that's what really brings me, like, that's what really brought this revelation specifically to mind, right? Just simply realizing, like, I don't like having to talk about money, right? I don't think that everybody's around me got money. I don't think that they need to have a bunch of money. Never. That's not me at all. But I don't want to be around people that make money, or they don't have a good relationship with money. And by good relationship with money, I even mean like they don't even believe that they can make good money, because that's really what it is. When you work so hard, I don't know, when you work so hard, or you got somebody else that's working hard to make sure that they can take care of you or do all of the things or whatever, I think you just appreciate, or we should learn to appreciate, because it's probably just, straight human nature, wanting more but not having, or feeling like you don't have enough. I just don't want that to be a fact. I think it's okay to be like, hey, that's out of my budget. But outside of that, if money is always a problem, there are other things that you need to take care of. And maybe a social life is not what you should be focused on right now. And again, that's not my problem. And I mean that in the most sincere way. As a friend, family, associate, anything, you need to go figure that out, okay? That should be your main priority. If we are always getting together and there is something that you can't, or you're trying to get together and it's something you can't do or whatever, honestly, And this might just be with me being the oldest child and all the things. It's like, you don't have no free time. You need to be working and figuring something out so that you can do more of what you want to do. And sometimes you have to isolate yourself from all the fun shit to get your shit together. So do that and leave me out of it, and your other friends and your other family and all the things, because you were just looking for distractions. And I don't want to be a distraction. I want you to be the person, if I hit you up, we could do it, or we can't do it. That's cool. But I just want to leave that alone. Again, we all need to be mindful. We all need to be stocking up, doing shit, not being reckless with our spending and all of those things. We are adults. We shouldn't have to discuss that at all. Honestly, that brings me back to just reflecting on who is actually meant to be around and who is worthy of being around. And I'm not saying everyone has to prove their worth, but are we aligned? And the reality of it is, I may have aligned with some people, places, and things that do not serve me now or in the future. And maybe they were just fillers. That's no offense to y'all being fillers. Maybe I was a filler in your life. Maybe. Because sometimes you'll see people for a long time and then, hey, you never see them again. And that's okay. That is okay. That was the other thing I realized. Like, mostly for Colorado, like, while I build individual relationships with people, it's like I'm a friend of a friend. So while we mostly connect through other people, it's like, I'm not really fond of that. I'm not. Some of the people, again, the people that listen to my friends that listen to this, they're not going to listen to this and be like, oh, she's talking about me. It's more so just, I don't know if they'll ever hear it because they might not hear it, right? Honestly, thinking about it and just going back to really questioning, like, what is my current state with friends and things, or associates, really just associates, because I don't believe that anyone that I consider a friend will listen to this and be like, oh, she's talking about me. I don't think that at all. Now, associates, this shoe might fit, but for the ones that I care about, we're working on building better connections. We are. Now, I've mentioned before that my mom said to a close friend of mine that she said her daughters were really good at picking up strays. And the more I reflect on that, it just is like, she's so right. And think I'm done with picking up the strays. I'm totally fine with waiting for my perfect, or maybe not perfect, but my actual genuine friend group until, like, things on my list are matched out or whatever, genuine actual connections come about. I want people that are in my life because they want to be in there, not because they want to be out with me, be seen with me, be somewhere with me, need anything from me, whatever. You genuinely want to be in my life and I genuinely want to be in yours. That's all I have time for right now. That's it. You're into me because I'm me, and I'm into you because you're you. It all sounds so damn simple, but is it? No. But to my listeners, I hope that when you hear this whole entire conversation and episode, maybe you relate to these things and it brings some type of peace back into your world, because it is very hard to find peace and finding peace and honoring what not only you want, but like your body is craving that, and it's actually working towards that, but you're working against it because you want to still align with things that do not serve you. I'm done with that. I'm done. And again, I don't know if this is the frontal lobe developing all the way, but I've just been done. And I don't feel sad about it. I don't feel heartbroken. I don't feel like I'm going to cry a river. I don't, because they never served me. And that's the reality of it all, is like, oh, I don't miss it because it didn't serve me. These little changes are not really standing out because it didn't serve me. It's not affecting me because it did not serve me. I don't miss it because it did not serve me and who I want to be. Sadly, not really even sadly. It's not even sadly. It's just not who I want to be. I don't. Even me sitting here saying that out loud is like, it doesn't serve me. It does not serve me. I didn't want it. I didn't want it to begin with. I don't need filler anything. I don't. But what I do desire is genuine everything. Connections, experiences. And I want a genuine life, you know? Not that I haven't lived towards that before, but it's just like, again, maybe it is because we're hitting our last, we got 3 months till summer. Hey, maybe it has something to do with just closing out my last year in the 20s, which, that's crazy. That's actually, child, is it releasing everything that needs to be left in this decade? Maybe. And I'm okay with that. Quite honestly, I am. I always talk about how I am not afraid to turn 30. And if you are someone, you're 29, shit, you're 18, you don't need to be afraid of that either, because you one, you're walking into a new decade. And for me, I just look forward to everything brand new. Again, like 29, a lot of brand new things happen. A lot of brand new thoughts, a lot of new experiences, a lot of the things. It's still a lot of time for more stuff to happen, but it's been all right. I don't know. It's been very, very mature. My headspace, anyway. My headspace, because, yeah, I just be doing things that not that I would never imagine, but I never imagined. Or responding to things like I never imagined. Just handling things because I could just go ahead and get it handled. And then, if it's stuff that's further out, hey, I already took care of it. If it's something for next week, I don't have to worry about it next week. I got more time to do other things while I'm waiting for this to come around. Folding the clothes when they come out the dryer. Washing the clothes. Washing and drying and folding same day. Oh my God. Yeah, I can't really say like for cooking and stuff, because that I do that already, but I'm just trying to think quickly what other like examples I could give you guys. But yeah, it's just been a great whirlwind of change and preparation for not only just the fact like I'm going to be 30, but a lot of preparation or a lot of preparation for future self, honestly. Future self, because and maybe preparation is not the right word, but definitely a lot of just don't know what to call it. I don't know what to call it, but it's been a great feeling. It's been a great feeling. I know a lot of people get scared of sitting with things, being sober through things, but I think the only reason I can respond to who I was in the past or things I've done in the past, lessons learned is because I gave myself time to sit with the things, however that was. Now, where I'm going through this big phase of change, it's not a complete letdown. I 100% understand that I am having all of these thoughts and changes and desires and experiences, and all of these things because I've done the work and it's time to let them go. It's time, like, certain things have had their time being a part of me, being a part of my life, being a part of my routine. Like, chill time is up. We're moving on to bigger and better things. And knowing that, being able to say that, and being able to mostly feel that, I am on cloud nine. I would A-Town stump down Elon Musk's weird chest, full of happiness, full of self-love, full of light. And I really do feel full of light. I do. Like, I do. And I know that I reflect that. I know that I do. And I wish that for everybody and everyone listening, because self discovery is not easy. This is coming from somebody who did not just make a podcast out of nowhere to talk about it. And tells you guys all the time, I'm still on my self discovery journey because it never really ends. But when you get those signs, and once you do so much work, and then things start just unfolding, and it's like, oh, okay, keep unfolding, keep unfolding. It may not unfold how you're expecting it to, but you'll get to a point where you can look down, right? Look down at everything that unfolded, and you're like, this is actually amazing. So I can't wait to see, like, I don't know if this will be like a thing where I can do like a random little chit chat. We do this every couple of episodes, and I give an update about like where I am in, quarterly or something like that. This is not quarterly. We're in February, but I hope that I can, because even if I don't, I do understand that it's going to show in different ways. And I do believe that it's just showing in many, many ways now. To anybody that is in the beginning of it, it gets so much better. It gets so much better. It gets unbelievably better. It just feels really freaking good. It feels really freaking good. Let's go ahead and get into Queen before we close out the show. As we walk into Queen, I wanted to briefly discuss moving with grace again. The show is called Soul and Grace for a reason. And you just listened to me ramble about me and some of the reflections and revelations and all of that jazz that's going on with me. One of the things I want to say before I close out is my self-discovery journey has mostly been me figuring out what deserves my attention. Who deserves my attention? Now when I think about that, or I could ask myself that, it's not that I have a specific answer. All of it has more so to do of the connection I'm building with myself. Me being able to say, I'm going to avoid, neglect, not even give any attention to things that have nothing to do with where I want to be and who I want to be, is a big deal. And it is also hard because most people feel like they don't have that option to figure out what they want to do for them or how to connect to themselves better, they never even get a chance to think about if they even have a good relationship with themselves sometimes. We just listen to me go over all of my revelations and all of those things. There is so much. This whole thing would not be here if I did not question or want to better my relationship with myself. If I never focused on doing something and changing the outcomes that I was getting from myself, I'm realizing more and more every day that growth often requires us to outgrow certain aspects of our lives, and that can be a little bittersweet and also very freeing. As we walk into Queen, I just want to discuss moving with grace. Y'all know the show is called Soul and Grace, so we will talk about grace, giving yourself grace a lot. And the thing about giving yourself grace is, and even your self-discovery journey, once you get past all the things you don't like about yourself, all the things you want to change about yourself or whatever, you get to a point where you realize you are enough. I am enough how I am, who I am, and the things that I don't want to change, that I don't like, I'm on the path to change them. So what there's nothing more, nothing less that comes from that, right? You are already enough, and that's a whole new energy. Whether you felt that or you just hearing this and you taking it on now, there's some new energy for you. You are already enough, okay? You don't need to be anything else. And even right now, we're just trying to better who we are to meet newer versions of ourselves, because that's always going to change. And because you're always going to change, that brings me to another point that I always say. Self-discovery does not have no timeline. It doesn't have a timeline because it's going to be a lifelong thing. You're constantly going to be evolving. You're constantly going to be faced with things that you either change with or you grow with them. You literally either change or you grow with them. And it's okay to be in a season where you don't have it all figured out, because the reality of life is you're not going to always have it figured out. You might be prepared for something, aware of something that's coming, all the things, but you're never going to have it all figured out. So let go of that, and it'll let go of that feeling or that need to have it figured out. And that would definitely help you feel much better. It makes it easier to give yourself grace overall. If you don't have any expectations, or really, not that you shouldn't have any expectations, but your only expectation should be bettering yourself. And sometimes bettering yourself is like trial and error. You don't know what's going to work until it works. You don't. So you just have to see what works and what doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, you try something else. You keep it moving. And if that doesn't work, you try something else. Dust yourself off and try again. Aaliyah told y'all. Aaliyah told y'all. I keep kneeling down because my that's where I'm at with it. Like, I'm in a season of growing. I'm in a season of reflection. I'm in a season of mostly stepping into this newer version of me for now, right? Just right now. And one that's even more aligned with my purpose and so forth, right, in the future. And the only reason I thought this chit chat would be important is because I know a lot of us are going through the same things. The next episode is going to be about balance, and it kind of ties into this a little bit. Life has a way of showing us what we really need to focus on. Everything that I focus on is changing, and it has changed, and it is changing me for the better. If you're going through a change right now, I want you to know you're not alone. I'm going through it. They're going through it. We all going through it. You see America going through it. We're all literally going through it in our own different ways. And that's the special part about life, right? It's okay to feel out of reach of things that no longer serve us. Even though people try to make you feel bad for it, it is okay. And actually, I believe it's a sign that you're doing something right. It's a sign that you're actually leveling up. So keep leveling up. And even when it feels like you're not leveling up, I need you to understand every time is not going to, you're not going to feel the change. It might be a subtle little change, okay? But you're leveling up. Every time you decide to do something out of your ordinary, you are leveling up, okay? You're leveling up. Every time you decide to do something outside of your ordinary, you are leveling the hell up. So do not forget that. Do not forget that. Everything has a purpose. Every experience has a purpose. Every person, whether they continue to be in your life or you let them go, has a purpose. Every interaction, all things you experience, really, all of these things play a part in the change and you actually leveling up. So please don't forget that. Don't shy away from it. Don't be scared. Just know that it's all working out. You know that saying, that little affirmation, that sound is always working out. I think it's bell hooks or somebody, but truly things are always working out for you, okay? So don't forget that. Don't forget that. Take it from me. Because if I had more time, I'd tell y'all a little bit more, but we do not. We do not have more time. I'll put y'all in my business a little bit. The truth is, you can have a full, rich life without holding on to things that no longer serve you or align with who or where you want to be. So please don't forget that. Don't forget that. It's time for me to go now. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next video where we dive back into the wellness space. We'll try to do another one of these updates soon. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Soul and Grace Podcast. Bye-bye.